Good morning. I would like to circulate this attendance sheet. Please put your name down and check out the day of your attendance. So we are having a more intimate group today, this semester. Perhaps we can have more stimulating dialogue. Is everybody here? Third and fourth year testing semester. Did you give some thought to what we were talking about in the previous semester? Do you have any questions? Has it in any way influenced your way of seeing, understanding people, patients? And has it in some way altered your work? Did it have any impact on your work? Yes.
One thing that I've done with it, and this was not at the end, but from the very beginning, was when a client would come in with a cone, discuss with the client the implications of the cone, what does the cone mean to them. And
Yeah.
it was rather interesting that in the few times that I've done it, there was some very definite things that were going on. The client did have a meaning for themselves.
Yes. Were they surprised?
Yeah, they were.
It's interesting that people find the most self-evident things surprising and hard to believe. It is very surprising to many people to consider the possibility that maybe our lives are meaningful, that there is a meaning to everything that is going on in our life. It's a great surprise. Of course, animals don't know that there is a meaning to their life. Psychologists also don't know that. As long as our mental horizon is imprisoned in cause and effect thinking, and that's what traditional, conventional psychological thinking is, cause and effect. The meaning of experiences and of life, and of our life, it eludes us completely. Therefore, we are living a meaningless life. I would like to start out our semester today by talking to you about the riddle of the Sphinx. Have you ever heard of the riddle of the Sphinx? What is the Sphinx?
Isn't it half man, half animal? Head of a man, the body of a man.
Right. It is a symbolic sculpture. It has the body of an animal and the head of a human. And for thousands of years, and even today, The world is greatly puzzled about the meaning of the Sphinx. So much so that the whole cult has developed around it, and over the years people were speculating what could have been the message which the ancient Egyptians tried to convey by constructing such a strange sculpture. And it has remained a riddle till today. Even today, Egyptologists and many archaeologists and researchers find it a great mystery. What it is, what were they trying to say, these ancient Egyptians, thousands of years ago, at the time when the pyramids were being built? The pyramids constitute a great riddle, but the Sphinx are even greater riddle. Now, from a metapsychiatric standpoint, the Sphinx has ceased to be a riddle, because we have come to understand that the Sphinx is a sculpture which represents and expresses the very strange nature of man. You see, depending on the evolution of consciousness, which we spoke about before, man can exist on three levels. The most primitive level of existence is the animal level. And to tie this up with psychosomatic medicine, we would say that medical science have viewed man originally as a physiological organism, somewhat as veterinary medicine looks at animals today. It's an organism. A sort of a biochemical machine. This is the most primitive level of understanding of man. And much of surgery and many aspects of many medical specialties, vast majority, I would say, see man as an organism, a bioenergetic machine, which has a tendency to break down in various ways through the use and aging processes, and this machine needs to be repaired. And so when you go to a doctor for your checkup, it is not much different than if you take your car for a checkup. They check out your body, your organs, how they function, they take measurements, and you might as well stay home and send your body over there myself. And then they will then examine you as if you were just some kind of a machine. All the various tests and things. You are being handled like a machine. And And the doctor tries to find out what went wrong with your machine, with you as a machine, and tries to repair it. Now, this is the Sphinx. The Sphinx, the body of the Sphinx, is an animal. So when we go for surgery or for internal medicine, we are just bringing ourselves to the doctor, and we accept the presumption that we are like animals, and we need to be handled and fixed up like a machine. When you take your dog to a veterinarian, or a horse, or a cow, or something, the body is being repaired. Now, this is the lowest level upon which man can exist. It is the animal level. Now, the head of the Sphinx is human. The Sphinx has an animal body and a human head. Now, what does it mean to have a human head? It means that man can rise above the animal level and become a psychological man. Man, the thinker. When the psychological man has some problems, he goes to a psychologist or to a psychiatrist or a psychotherapist, and he wants to find out why he has the problems, strictly in the context of cause and effect reasoning. Now, you remember when we spoke about psychosomatic medicine in the beginning, we said that the evolutionary process of this branch of medicine started with the assumption that there is somatic medicine, then there was somatopsychic medicine, based on the idea that the body can hurt the mind. And then when psychological man was discovered, then we have found that the mind can hurt the body. And then we got psychosomatic medicine. So some of us exist on an animal level. Let's make it. The vast majority of mankind still exists on an animal level. Educated mankind exists on a psychological level. The Sphinx has a human head. The human head stands for psychological man. On psychological level, you try to repair the thought processes and the feelings and emotions which are intertwined with those thought processes, and help people to think straight and to relate himself to his fellow man in a more socially acceptable way, the socializing element to psychology and psychotherapy. Now there is a third level of man, which is expressed in the eyes of the Sphinx. There is something fascinating and awe-inspiring about the eyes of the Sphinx. Namely, the eyes of the Sphinx do not focus. They stare into infinity. Some people get hypnotized by this, by viewing, looking into the eyes of a Sphinx. It's a very peculiar quality, the gaze of the Sphinx. Metapsychiatry understands this to mean that the Sphinx looks into infinity. So the ancient Egyptians distinguished three kinds of people: animal people, human people, and spiritual beings. A spiritual being has a perspective on infinity. He sees reality in the context of infinite mind. Sub specie eternitatis. What does that mean? Sub specie eternitatis. In the context of infinity, eternity. Now, how does this tie up with psychosomatic medicine? It beautifully correlates the progress which we have made from somatic medicine to somatopsychic medicine to psychosomatic medicine through phenomenological understanding of existence as a spiritual man, as a spiritual being whose life is meaningful, whose every experience is meaningful, who is not an animal, who is not a human being with his psychological calculative mind, but with a spiritual being living in the context of infinite love intelligence. Metapsychiatry goes beyond psychosomatic medicine and understands all phenomena as manifestations of meaning. Therefore, the psychological approach to physical illness is transcended. Cause and effect reasoning is abandoned, and it is replaced by phenomenological analysis. Today we don't say anymore that the body hurts the mind or that the mind hurts the body. Today we say there is no dualism of mind and body. There is only mind manifesting itself in multifarious ways as phenomena. So we have the phenomenological approach to human existence. So we don't have to treat the body, and we don't have to treat the psyche. We seek to understand the meaning of all phenomena, and through that process, man is helped to come into greater harmony with the fundamental order of existence. So the riddle of the Sphinx tells us that thousands of years ago, there were remarkable individuals who had a clear understanding of the nature of the human experience. That man is not an animal, he is not a psyche, but he is a spirit. Now, this is neither religion, nor is it science fiction, but it is just a more perfect way of understanding life and benefiting ourselves and our fellow man. By clarifying the meaning of his problems and helping him to find the meaning of his existence. Life becomes not only harmonious and wholesome, but also meaningful through this process. It is interesting to contemplate the evolution of knowledge about man and the parallel evolution of knowledge about the universe. As you know, first it was believed that the earth was flat and it was the center of the universe. This we call the geocentric view of the universe. Geocentric means that the Earth was considered the center of the universe. After Galileo, Copernicus, and Kepler, it was understood that the Earth is not flat and it is not the center of the universe, but it revolves around the sun. We have attained the heliocentric knowledge about the universe. Then we discovered that the sun is not just one star and a planet, but a whole system of planets belonging and revolving around the sun. And we gained a galactic. The sun forms a galaxy. And we came to understand, to have a galactic viewpoint on the universe. Then our knowledge expanded into a realization that there are many galaxies in the universe. So we developed an intergalactic knowledge about the universe. And now we are developing fantastic knowledge about the universe, and we are discovering so-called black holes and antimatter in the universe. And this would correspond to a cataclysmic viewpoint on the universe, where we can already see that cataclysmic events are taking place. Stars are exploding, and all sorts of events are taking place where new galaxies appear and others disappear. It is an exploding universe. So we have a cosmic consciousness now. Any child, any school child, can have a cosmic consciousness and a knowledge of a cataclysmic universe. You see how the mental horizon was expanding over the years to ever broader realizations of the cosmos. Now, parallel to this kind of expansion of mental horizon is the process in understanding man and psychotherapy. For instance, the Freudian idea of psychoanalysis was totally anthropocentric. What do we mean by that?
Man-centered.
Man-centered. We were taught to explore man intensively in an intrapsychic way and study the dynamism of intrapsychic processes. Freud has said, focus your attention and look into man and study the intricacies of these intrapsychic processes. So the anthropocentric period of knowledge in psychotherapy would correspond to the geocentric period of knowledge. Then, from the anthropocentric forms of psychotherapy, we have expanded our viewpoint and began to study man's relationship to his fellow man, including his family and society and culture. And different schools of psychotherapy have evolved. The interpersonal, the socio-dynamic, transcultural. Man was seen here in the context of his relationship to his family, to his tribe, to his surroundings, to his society, etc. We have developed to his tribe, to his surroundings, to his society, etc. We have developed a broader perspective which would correspond to the galactic viewpoint. The galactic viewpoint studied the Earth in its relationship to the Sun and to the other planets. So we study man in his relationship to his fellow man, to his meaningful individuals and influences. We study the influence, the interaction between man and his family, his culture, society. So we have a galactic, and then we have transcultural studies in psychiatry, which would correspond to the intergalactic viewpoint on man. And then we have the existential forms of psychotherapy, which goes beyond the interpersonal and social psychotherapy, and goes into endeavors to see man in the context of existence. This would correspond to the cosmic viewpoint. On the universe. Man as a manifestation of existence. The planet Earth in the context of the universe. Now, beyond the existential perspective on man, we arrive at what? What is the final book in the Bible? Revelation. What other name does that book have? The Apocalypse. So the apocalyptic viewpoint on man corresponds to the cataclysmic viewpoint on the cosmos. Here we are already considering man in the context of his afterlife. And you have read books today which say life after life, and what will become of man after he seems to have died. So we have reached the broadest possible perspective on man, just as we have reached the broadest possible perspective on the universe. The broader our perspective on things in general are, the better we can understand the real issues. The more narrow-minded we are, of course, the more ignorant we are. This is a generally valid statement. Broadening our mental horizons is an absolute necessity, and the human race is partaking in an evolutionary process where this broadening of mental horizon is inevitably taking place. We are heading towards the omega point of Teilhard de Chardin. And some individuals are spearheading this evolutionary process. Who are these individuals? The spiritual luminaries over the ages. Have been pointing the way for us. It is very important for you to keep all this in mind when you are studying psychotherapy. Because don't believe that you can learn a certain technique within the framework of one school of thought, and you can settle down for the rest of your life and work within that framework. That will never be. You cannot stop. Anybody who stops is receding and falling into becoming a psychotherapeutic hack. Growth and learning is unceasing. You will never be able just to stop growing. If you stop growing, you are dead. As long as we live, we must grow and expand our mental horizons and understand ourselves in ever wider and broader terms. Now, the title of our course is Psychosomatic Medicine Viewed in the Context of Metapsychiatry. In the context of metapsychiatry, psychosomatic medicine becomes existential phenomenology. This has very practical consequences. Which we shall see as we go on. We are going to demonstrate the great value of the broader viewpoint in practice. And perhaps you have already seen on a few cases which were presented here that this is not just highfalutin fantasy and theorizing, but it has very practical, useful application. Now we have 15 minutes. Would anyone want to ask a question or present a problem where we could demonstrate the usefulness of this viewpoint? Ted, you have something?
I would like to ask about the three levels you mentioned. Is the point that these levels are mutually exclusive, or is the concept, talking about the concept from which you view existence, shifts in a progressing level up to the highest level?
Well, we have to ask ourselves, what is man really? As long as we believe that man is an animal, then we cannot help but relate ourselves to him as an animal and treat him as an animal. If we see man as the psyche, then we have to, and inevitably will, have a psychological approach to him. And all his problems will be explained in terms of cause and effect. But if we can understand man as a spiritual being, then everything about this individual will take on a meaning. And then we shall deal with the meaning of his problem. Now, you can ask, well, what happens to the animal part, if that's what you were thinking? And what happens to the psyche? Right?
And the fact is, of course, even if we view existence from a spiritual perspective, it's belief.
Yes. Well, not the same way as before.
Present versus that.
You will find that if man is understood as a spiritual being, and if his problems are clarified in terms of their meaning, when these things are brought out and brought into line with spiritual reality, then everything falls into its place, and the animal becomes healthy, and the psyche becomes healthy, and he is healed. Today we hear a great deal about holistic health. Now, the vast majority of people understand holistic health in terms of taking into consideration all facets of man. The body, the mind, the spirit, the diet, the environment, the relationship with a very complex viewpoint of trying to see man in context of all aspects that he appears to be. But that is not really holistic man. That is not really the holistic approach. That is a multidimensional approach. Man becomes whole when he is in harmony with the fundamental order of existence. Now, what is this fundamental order of existence? Hmm?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Well, I don't know that I can reply to that, but when you stress that, what automatically came to my mind was the creation myth of Adam and Eve, who were very definitely in harmony with their existence. But I have a lot of trouble saying that, well, they were in harmony, but to me they were unconsciously in harmony. So they hadn't realized their true potential for being in harmony with the beneficial presence, which is conscious of things by nature. So that's what I was thinking. I can't answer your question.
Yes. What do we mean by the fundamental order of existence?
Well, one view it could be that the world, the universe is organized to run certain ways. If you have a way of living that's in harmony with it, you have a livable way of living. That will give you certain results.
Right. How is the universe organized in a certain way? And how can we know that? Well, you see, in order to understand the fundamental order of existence, we need to understand God in an existentially valid way. Not as a religious symbol, but as a creative force underlying all that really is. That's the meaning of Tao. Right. The meaning of the Tao, and that's the meaning of the Buddha nature, and of Allah, and of everything that the prophets and Jesus and Buddha and the great spiritual sages were trying to convey to us over the ages. It is possible to come to understand what is existentially valid and what is existentially not valid. And it is possible to bring our lives into alignment with that reality which is existentially valid, which in turn bears fruit in terms of wholeness. And that is real wholeness. So we must understand the difference between multidimensional approach to health and the quest for wholeness. About 25 years ago, I wrote a book entitled In Quest of Wholeness. This book seems to be 25 years ahead of its time. Yeah. But that's it. This is the issue of wholeness is common to us with all other schools, but our understanding of wholeness is different. Wholeness we define as at one man with the fundamental order of existence. The realization of at one man. Now, in proportion that we attain to this conscious at one man, with the fundamental order of existence, in that proportion we will find ourselves becoming whole. That all aspects of our life are healed, become harmonious, and whatever inner potentialities there are have a tendency to become fulfilled. The Bible says, "Blessed are they which hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be fulfilled." Now, righteousness in this context we understand to mean coming into right alignment with the fundamental order of existence. Thereby we attain fulfillment, which is synonymous with wholeness. So we don't speak of holistic health because that sounds like realistic reality. We speak of wholeness and define it clearly. Did I stop you from asking a question?
Well, I still like to understand.
Yeah.
You need the word creative. You have to understand the creative force.
Creative force underlying all that really is. Yes?
When you use the word thought, the idea of energy.
Yeah, right.
That would
Right.
be
Power, energy, love, intelligence. We also speak of God as omni-active love intelligence. And
So in other words, you can be open to passing things to you.
right, exactly. As a matter of fact, we are constantly in it. But what is needed is the attainment of a conscious awareness of this inseparability of every individual from the power. We will have occasion to talk about it some more next time.